What's happening, guys? Welcome back to Dynamo DeFi. My name is Patrick, and on this channel I talk about cryptocurrency, decentralized finance, and economics. So if you like those topics, be sure to like and subscribe. Today's video, I'm going to be going back to Avalanche, talking about some exciting news that's happened on the Avalanche network, and whether I'm still bullish. Additionally, I'll take a look at some news from other layer ones that I haven't looked at yet, but that may be upcoming, so you may want to check out. Let's get into it then. So last time I did an Avalanche video, probably about a week ago, I noted that it was just hovering around the mid to high 40s, and really not much has changed about that since then. A lot of alts have pulled back, but keep in mind, guys, that a few weeks ago we were sitting down in the teens in Avalanche, so when it has a run up like this, it's not really a surprise when it consolidates for a while. I mean, there's some of us who were holding back here and held through all of this. So there's definitely some people who just want to get their money back at this point. So that's the update on the Avalanche price. But the exciting thing is that if you go over to DeFi Llama and look at the total value locked, you can see that it's actually been steadily increasing. So even though Avalanche has been relatively flat the past 2 weeks, the TVL is still going up. And if we look at it in terms of AVAX, you can see that the past couple of days it's maybe gone down a bit as the Avalanche price has recovered more. But overall, the TVL is still going up, which means that people are bridging over. People are trying out some of these protocols. And that's not all. Like I said, there's some big news. So first piece of news is that Topps, if you're a collector, you may be familiar with baseball cards. Topps switched from the AVAX blockchain, which is an entirely NFT-focused blockchain, to Avalanche and launched their new baseball NFT collection on Avalanche. So Topps is a huge player in the world of collectibles. Anyone who does sports collectibles is going to be familiar with Topps baseball cards, and so this is pretty enormous win for Avalanche. So you can see they have their new Inception NFT collection that will be released in September on toppsnfts.com. And I gather that they'll be pretty similar to the physical cards that the company has released in the past. And this article from CoinDesk notes that MLB licensing is seen as the crown jewel of the sports collectible market. So that's some exciting news for Avalanche and a nice partnership. NFTs are going crazy right now, so perhaps this will bring some attention over to Avalanche, and that may translate into increased DeFi activity as well. Another piece of exciting news. So this is actually a couple weeks old, but SushiSwap announced that they would join Avalanche Rush. So they'll be bridging over to Avalanche, and they'll be joining Avalanche's program to incentivize liquidity. So this is the third blue chip DeFi application that will be coming over after Aave and Curve. And just another good sign that Avalanche is gaining adoption and credibility. And by the way, this isn't news, but another thing to remember when we're looking at this TVL is that Aave and Curve have not yet launched an Avalanche. So I'm expecting this to go quite a bit higher once those launched. Even on my previous videos, some people commented that they said, yeah, Avalanche looks great, but I'm going to wait for Aave and Curve just because they didn't know as much about these protocols. And I think that's totally fair. But I imagine a lot of people are in a similar place. Next piece of news is that Trader Joe, so the resident largest DEX on Avalanche and probably the largest meme on Avalanche as well, Trader Joe raised $5 million from Three Arrows Capital and others. So Three Arrows Capital is a huge player in the crypto space. So this is affirmation that they believe in Avalanche, they believe in Trader Joe. And that'll tie into some of the updated strategies that I'm using on Avalanche moving forward. And yes, the project's co-founders are anonymous. However, the fact that Three Arrows Capital is involved, I think, is a good sign that they're doing their due diligence and they're not going to invest in something that's at risk of rug pulling. Knock on wood. The final piece of news is that Avalaunch updated their tokenomics and had their first IDO. Avalaunch is the XAVA token, if you're not familiar. So the tokens now accrue value in 4 ways. They get allocations and IDOs. They receive ecosystem rewards. So that's if you stake your XAVA, you receive new distribution of XAVA. But additionally, and I think this is the most exciting, they also receive deposit fees and allocation fees. So they actually now have a stake in the fees that the Avalaunch platform generates. And Avalaunch performed its first IDO for the EA protocol this week. Unfortunately, I couldn't participate because I'm in the United States. However, any fees from that would accrue to Avalaunch stakers. So we got a lot going on, and just to briefly go over my updated strategy moving forward on Avalanche. So a lot of alts have pulled back. I'm still in almost all of the alts that I've mentioned in previous videos. I tend to buy things for the long term because I believe in the project. However, moving forward, I will say that my main positions on Avalanche are going to be in these protocols that either have strong outside support or have good tokenomics. And by those, I mean Trader Joe, because just because of the large number of people that are interested in it and the fact that they're getting money from reputable crypto firms and everything. Trader Joe is one of them. YieldYak is another. They have 10,000 tokens. They will never make more than 10,000 tokens, and a good number of those tokens are locked to accrue value to people that the platform wants to reward. And these also have good value capture, and that fees from YieldYak get accrued back to Yak stakers. You can see the APY isn't great. However, the nice thing is that APY is not from diluting Yak with more Yak. It's from Avalanche fees from the platform. So Yak, I think that's a great one. And probably if you look at charts, I think Yak probably has the highest correlation with Avalanche itself, but with larger swings. So if Avalanche goes up 10%, Yak often goes up 20%. So I think this is a solid play if you just want something that's going to be basically a leveraged version of AVAX. And then the final one that I'm looking at for farming is, so the TVL has come down because people unstaked their XAVA to participate in the EA IDO and then several other upcoming IDOs. But this is the other one that I'm staking. Unfortunately, their fully diluted value compared to their current market cap is relatively high, so they have some supply that hasn't been released. However, because of these updates they made with the deposit fees and allocation fees, I think that this is pretty good value capture. So I'm definitely holding on to this. And I think that as more IDOs kick off, people will really want to accumulate some XAVA. So that is my update on Avalanche. Another thing I would say is that when I talk about small coins on this channel, I never bet the farm on one coin. Usually it's a small proportion of the portfolio, and usually I'm going into 3 or 4. So keep that in mind as you manage your own risk. If a coin going down by, say, 10% really stresses you out, then you might be overexposed. So that would be my advice as far as these sorts of dips and swings. Next thing we're going to look at is that a number of other L1s are coming up, and although I haven't gotten into any of these 3 layer ones yet, I may look into them in the near future, and you may want to check them out. So first, this was announced less than 2 hours ago. Crypto.com, with their EVM smart contracts on their Kronos mainnet, is launching on October 19th. So I guess hashtag Crow has looks like maybe the Croatian flag on it. But I've got a good friend who does crypto and is in Croatia. He'll love that. But yeah, so you may want to check this out when it launches on October 19th. Perhaps you want to accumulate some Crow ahead of time. Again, I haven't yet looked into this in too much detail, but it's on the horizon. Next up is Cello. A few people have asked me about this. They announced their own fund for DeFi adoption, $100 million. Basically, Cello is a smartphone-first smart contract platform. I believe they've actually said that their network could run without the internet. It could run entirely through cell phone service, so that's kind of cool. But they apparently have Aave, Curve, Sushi, and other platforms coming on board. Pretty exciting. Had never heard of Cello before this. I mean, I think I had seen them on CoinMarketCap, but I wasn't familiar with them at all. So this could be one to look at, maybe a sleeper for the future. A lot of parts of the world, people have phones but don't have computers, so perhaps they can tap into that market. And I imagine a lot of places where people have phones and not computers, they're also unbanked. So there's a bit of a social mission and unaddressed market there. Final one that's getting some attention is Moonriver. Moonriver is the newest Kusama parachain, and it's EVM compatible. So Moonriver, MOVR, their token's been taking off. And allegedly they have over 200 projects coming on board. This says 60. I've heard 200 other places. However, regardless, that's a lot of projects for a new platform. There's a lot of people who are huge fans of the DOT and Kusama ecosystem. So I'm expecting this to definitely get some traction. And because it's EVM compatible, it makes it easier for projects to redeploy there. So that's another one you may want to check out. That's all for today. Let me know what you think. Are you going to continue farming on the Avalanche network? What's your strategy moving forward? And are there any other Layer 1 platforms that you want me to check out on this channel? I've got videos coming up on Phantom. I've got more videos on Solana. I'll continue to look at the Terra and Avalanche networks. But if there's anything else that you think I should cover, I'm always open to suggestions. If you enjoyed this video, be sure to like and subscribe and follow me on Twitter, link in the description. Until next time, this is Dynamo DeFi.